Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to present to you tonight's presentation. And this is a new series that I'm doing. Tonight is part one, which is part of the core four structure that we have been doing. If you have been following me for a little while, you may have heard about the core four. And the core four is basically a orientation for your body to live in before you start making the creative choices, those really fun stuff, the details that you really want to get into. This is basically the baseline for your body. When you orient your body into these four choices, you're able to really, really create some magical stuff. And it's all about getting into alignment and really living your day consistently in these four choices. So tonight's presentation is going to be part one of the core four choices, and we will be going over being the predominant creative force in your life. Of the four core choices, that's one of the first ones we're doing. There's also living a life you love, choosing to be healthy and vital, and then choosing to live your true nature and purpose. Those are the core four, and tonight we're going to be discussing the predominant creative force, which is very exciting. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Share my screen. All right. So living the core four, part one of a four-part series, being the predominant creative force in your life. And before we get started with this presentation, I really enjoy talking about consciousness first. It's really important for you to understand what it means because consciousness is a little bit complicated, but it's really very simple. All it is awareness. It's simply awareness. The challenge though is you're not really aware, well, you're not really aware of what you think you're aware of. Sometimes our focus is behind the conscious focus that we're thinking. So for example, if you're aware that you decided to go to the gym because you want to lose weight, you want to get healthy. But the reason why you're going to the gym is because you don't think that you look very good right now. So you're making the decision to go to the gym. And you think that you're focused on going to the gym. But what you're really focused on is the fact that you don't look good enough and you need to go to the gym to make yourself look better. That's an example. There are three aspects of consciousness that we will discuss. And the three aspects are superconscious, the ego, and the unconscious. Your superconscious is the God self or the infinite intelligence, the God within, the higher self that you like to call it. It's basically only about experiences. It's here to live the human experience. It loves to be here and it loves to experience whatever it's experiencing, whether it's sadness, grief, or bliss, enlightenment, whatever it is, the higher self is excited to be here no matter what. It doesn't care what we choose. It's only here to do a experience, whatever that is. Then you have your ego or your self-conscious mind. This is the one that when you wake up in the morning, for example, and your thoughts are ruminating, or when you decide to have a conversation with someone and you're talking, you're making choices. That is your ego aspect or your self-conscious. It makes choices. It really want to focus on the quality of life. They want to have a good life. This is the part of you that want to have a big house, maybe, or a relationship, or maybe you want to have a family, or you want to start a business, so on and so forth. They're really concerning of the quality of life and how good you have it. Then you have your unconscious or the subconscious. And this part of the brain is only concerned with quantity of life, meaning how long are you going to live? The only goal of the unconscious is to make sure that you stay alive, to make sure you survive. This is the feeling part of our system. It is very trainable, and it learned that maybe it's the key to our mind power because it won 95% of the show. A lot of people don't know this, but your conscious mind only makes up 5% of the thoughts that are ruminating in your mind. Only 5%. You're only aware of the 5%. The other 95% is feeding you that 5% awareness. So whatever beliefs you currently have in your system, whether most of them are invisible, whatever beliefs you have in your unconscious, that those are the ideas that is being sent to you, to your ego part of your mind to make the choices. It's telling you, well, these are the ones that we feel are safe. So these are the thoughts that I'm going to give you. And these are the choices that you have to choose from it. And if you don't have awareness of the choices that you're making, this is where the challenge comes in, and where a lot of people get frustrated, let's say with the law of attraction, because this is where the law of attraction is actually feeding from the unconscious energy, not from the conscious energy that you're putting out. Let's say you're doing meditations or affirmations or whatever you're doing. The law of attraction is actually responding to your unconscious mind. Because your unconscious mind is what the body actually listens to. That's what you're vibrating to. And the only way to really get things to go your way is you have to train the unconscious mind that it's safe to go for what you want. It's safe to have this new thing that you want. Because if something is new, it means it's a threat to the unconscious. The unconscious will throw up all sorts of feelings saying, not to do that. For example, if it doesn't feel safe, it would throw up all sorts of feelings like shame or guilt, frustration, overwhelm, etc. Now, this part is what we have been discussing for many presentations up until this point, but it is so much ingrained in us that it can still be a challenge, even if you understand what's going on here with the problem structure versus the creative structure. And since 99% of the world is in the problem structure right now, for the most part, it's very challenging to change the structure because everything is ingrained in you. All of the decisions that you have been making, the way you have been thinking, all of it is already ingrained. This can be a challenge for many people. But basically, this is the way it works. So you have a problem. You identify the problem. Let's say, for example, you want more money. That's very common. I think a lot of us want more money. So you decide that you want more money. That's the problem. You look for a solution, and you decide the solution is to go and get a job. But then when you go and get a job and you get that job, you're still going to feel like you need more money. So then what happens is you look for a promotion or you go and start a business. And then you go right back to another problem. You still don't have enough money. And then you keep looking for another solution. So you're in an oscillating pattern. Another example is if you're single. You don't want to be single, so you want a relationship. And you go out and date. You pick partners and you date them. And you realize, oh, this isn't working out. So you date one, doesn't work out. You go for another date, it doesn't work out. And you realize, you know what, maybe this just isn't for me. And you end up being single anyway. And the reason why is because you were single in the first place. And the reason why you went to find a date is because you were single, not because you would love to find a date. You're focused on the problem. The other one, I want to be healthy. This one, how many times have you heard from your friend, oh, I'm going to go on a diet. It's January 1st. It's New Year's resolution. I'm going to go on a diet. And then they lose the weight. But then a few months later, they gain it right back. Or maybe they want to go to the gym. They start working out in January. And then by February, they get tired. They start going back to the old habit. And the whole reason why that happens is because they are focused from the get-go on a problem. I look like this. I want to look like this, so I go to the gym or I start eating healthy. They're focused on the problem. Another one could be, I want to be productive. So you decide to work harder. And then you realize you have to work even harder to keep it up. So at the end of the day, you're always working hard. I mean, how many of us have been working really hard in our jobs and working extremely hard to get promoted for years and years and years and years? And then when we finally get that promotion, we think we can get it easy, but then you realize you have to work even harder to keep up with that promotion because you worked super hard to get it in the first place. So now you've got to work even harder to keep it. And then the last one, I want to be calm. This is another example. Let's say you want to be calm and you decide to meditate because you feel anxious. You go and meditate and you calm down and you feel great. But then you get anxious again. And then when you get anxious again, what do? Oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to go meditate. And then what happens? You get anxious again and you go and meditate. So it's an oscillating pattern. And all of these things, and I hope you understand it by now, but basically your awareness, your focus, your consciousness is on the problem you are trying to fix. All of the power is in the circumstance. The power is not in what you want to create. It's in the circumstance. I am single. I want to find a relationship. The power is in I am single. So then what happens is you snap back every time to being single. Sometimes it takes a few years, sometimes it takes a couple of days, but it inevitably happens. And it's a very frustrating process. It really, really is, because you never get what you really want. And now some people will tell me, well, you know what? Of course we know this, Nicole. Don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution. And here's the kicker. That is wrong, because you cannot have a solution without a problem. One has to exist with the other. The problem cannot exist without a solution. Well, every problem has a solution, let's just say that. And then a solution cannot exist, period, without a problem. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a solution, would it? A solution is only a temporary feel-good path to the next problem. That's the kicker, isn't it? So then we spend our whole life looking for solutions because we're told that's the way to go, not realizing all we're doing is creating so many problems just for us to find more solutions to solve it. And it seems normal, right? But there's an easier way. There's a lot easier way. In fact, it's so easy that we can get into what's called the creative structure, where we just create and we don't even notice the problems. We're just creating. And that's when the momentum starts picking up. That's when the magic starts kicking in, the laws of the universe, the laws of attraction. That's when you start experiencing what you really hear about on The Secret and all those shows. It actually exists out there, but they're missing a very, very key point. And that is the problem structure. It's a structure that you're in. So what do you do? What do you do if you're in the problem structure, and how do we move to a creative structure? It can be a challenge, right? Because you're changing the way you think, and you're wondering, okay, so what do we do? What exactly do I do? And we've got some steps. You must learn to stay in what's called the creative structure. And to do this, you must continually focus on the end result of what you wish to create, and it's the emotion that you're focusing on. You're focusing on the emotion that you would feel when you accomplish that end result. That person, that you, at the end of what you're trying to accomplish, how would it feel? You must learn to be in a complete state of satisfaction with the current reality. And that should actually be the first thing you do, because if you're going to jump into getting into the end result because you realize you don't feel good and you want to do the creative structure, you're still in a problem. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that you're in a state of satisfaction right now. You make your peace. You make your peace with whatever's going on at the moment, whether it's financial, whether it's a situation with a mate, a relationship, whatever it is, it's got you feeling a little bit of discord. You want to get yourself into a state of peace, and a way to do that could be gratitude. Maybe you find some gratitude to shift your state of mind for a moment. And once you get into that state of satisfaction, then you jump into the creative structure, which is focusing on the end result. You start visualizing. You visualize the emotion of the end result of what you're trying to accomplish. And the key there is, when you do that, you're actually telling your unconscious that you can have it all right now. Your unconscious does not know the difference between what is real in the manifested reality or the physical reality that you can touch, smell, taste, feel with your five senses here. It doesn't know the difference between that and an imaginary reality. You still feel it in your body, so you can conjure it in your mind. And this is where the training comes in for the unconscious, to help it feel safe. And this is how you learn to have it all now. Your unconscious mind is getting used to the imaginary part that you're creating because you're feeling it in your body. So then what happens is you start attracting what you want because now you're resonating with the frequency of the emotion you're trying to create. If, for example, you're feeling unhappy with your current situation and you're trying to create something else, the unhappiness part is what's attracting with the law of attraction. The law of attraction is working to bring more things that will make you unhappy. And you might find a little bit of success for a couple of days or however long for a little bit, but then inevitably what's stronger is the law of attraction is working against you in that case because you're unhappy. Your predominant being is unhappiness, your predominant emotion. So you've got to shift your being into a different emotion. You've got to shift your being into the end result of what you're trying to accomplish. So you get into the end result and daydream. In essence, you're visualizing what it feels. You're getting the emotion in there in your mind. And one thing that's really important that distinguishes between the problem structure and the creative structure. You are in a problem structure if your decision to do anything is for a reason, anything other than just because you love it. For example, people ask me, Nicole, why are you doing these videos on YouTube? Well, the reason is I love it. And I'm being honest. It's an honor to share this information, and it brings me a lot of joy. That's why I do it. That's why I get into the creative structure and the end result of how I feel, which is joy. And it helps me overcome all of the other issues that might show up, the resistance that you might feel. And honestly, I don't feel that resistance anymore because I'm so focused on the end result of what it feels like to deliver these presentations and give people the information that can truly change lives. I do it because I love it. Why do you want more money? And if the reason is anything else other than I would love to experience it, then you're in the problem structure. The reason why you want more money, for example, is just because you want to experience a different experience. I have tasted scarcity. I've had enough of it. I'm satisfied with that experience. I'm satisfied. I'm done. I don't need any more of it. Now I would love to taste abundance. And the great example I have with this, and I'll stop the screen sharing for a moment to share this story with you guys. One of the best examples I have found where to help explain this concept is you've heard of billionaires give up all of their riches to become poor or to become homeless, and they are absolutely loving every minute of it because they want to experience it. And you have heard people that are very, very, very poor that end up being really rich, and they love that experience. Now, what is the difference between the billionaire in that example and the person that's poor? Because the billionaire wants to be poor, and the poor person wants to be rich. And the difference here is it's just the experience. It's not one is not better than the other because the poor person could say, well, the billionaire had it better. And the billionaire could say, well, the poor person had it better. And the reality is neither one of them are better than the other. They're just experiences. They're just flavors that you want to try. So if you're someone that would love to have some more money, look at it from the perspective of, I would love to experience that. I am satisfied with being in debt, and I would love to have loads of money in my bank account. I would love to experience that. I already know what it's like to be in debt, or I already know what it's like to be overdrawn in my bank account, or without job, or living paycheck to paycheck. I already know what that feels like. Now I would like to experience abundance. I would love to know what that's like. So in essence, you're treating the human experience as an experience. And right now you're experiencing the life that you've chosen because everything that you're experiencing right now has been a choice. Whether or not it's been by default, it doesn't really matter because you've chosen to live by default. And now you have an opportunity to be the predominant creator and to choose differently. So when you apply these concepts here and make these shifts, it really makes a difference. Now, very important to remember, this is a quote that is from Stephen Covey. He said, everything is always created twice. Everything in the universe is created twice. Once in the invisible, or the mind, and then once in the visible, the manifested reality. There is no reason why you cannot have it all now. I've had clients of mine come and tell me, well, Nicole, I have an illness. You don't know what my life is like right now. How could I have health right now? I just can't. And the answer is yes, you can. It starts in the mind. If you are in your mind picturing how sick you are, you're going to stay sick. You're always going to experience that part. But if you get into your mind and you imagine what health would feel like, the emotion, get into the emotion of the end result of what it feels like to really be healthy. You feel it in your mind, then health will show up. When you feel it in your mind, that's when you have it now. And again, your unconscious it does not tell the difference between what is imagined and what is real. It doesn't know the difference. So there is no reason why you cannot have it all now. Now, before we move further into this presentation, it's very important to understand when you're going from the problem structure to the creative structure, before you can really start creating what you truly desire, you have got to orient your body into a certain way of being first. Because if you don't do this, what happens is your unconscious is not going to be trained into living a certain way, and you're always going to have a battle. It's going to be a struggle. You're going to go one way and then you go back, then you go another way and you go back. The problem structure. So it's very important to get your body oriented into a new way of being. And there are 4 choices that we can make to help practice our body into being what it is that we want to create. And then from there, it's so much easier to really get into the fun stuff. So before you become a true creator and experience the magical moment, and the magical moment is the part where you have it all now, that's when you get into your emotion of the end result and you're feeling it and you're getting into that moment now, you're living it in your mind. You first need to choose 4 core choices to orient your body into a new way of being. And this becomes your new baseline, the basic building block. Then once you're consistently living these 4 core choices, then you can really tune into what you really want. And these are the 4 core choices. I choose to live a life I love. I choose to live my true nature and purpose. I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. And I choose to be healthy and vital. Now, these 4 choices will really make common sense, and you have to choose them. You have to really choose them with all of your heart and soul and live from these 4 core choices, and it makes it so much easier to create what it is that you would love to create. Choosing to live a life you love, that right there, everything is about love. Everything in the universe is about love. Love is the only thing that exists. So if you choose to live a life you love, then you're constantly living in that love energy. And everything that comes to you is pure love. I choose to live my true nature and purpose. So our true nature is joyful. And maybe your true nature is to be happy, be happy, be satisfied. And your purpose, this is the part where a lot of people are still trying to find their purpose. I feel that my purpose is to deliver this information, it's to learn to live in a higher consciousness environment and to help elevate my life and grow and to share my learning and teach everything that I've learned to others so that they may be able to expand and grow in their environment as well. And in order for any of that to happen, you have to choose to be the predominant creator. You've got to create the life that you love. It doesn't just magically happen. You have to actually conjure it in your imagination and then it creates it. But you've got to be the predominant creator to do those things. And of course, you have to choose to be healthy and vital because if you don't have health and you don't have vitality, you're not going anywhere. And I think that's common sense. And we all know that one. All right. So, what we're going to talk today is about being the predominant creator and to talk a little bit more about what that means. And this is a really nice quote that I found. I am the me that I choose to be. So you can choose to be the you that you want to be, not the one by default, not the one that whatever childhood trauma you may have gone through. And some people say, that's just how I am. No, that is not just how you are. That's how you choose to be. And you can't change it. That's what being the predominant creator is all about. So I've got some questions for you to contemplate. Do you find yourself wondering when things will happen for you? Do you do things out of obligation instead of what you really want to do because of fear of a conflict of what may happen? Do you find yourself living to survive? You've got bills to pay, you've got finances to do. I can't meditate, I don't have time. I can't go out and exercise, I don't have time. I've got to survive, I've got to do this and that. Do you hesitate to go for what you want because you fear failure or success, conflict, judgment, pain, or something else? So it's just something that you want, but it has not shown up yet. And if it hasn't shown up yet, there's a reason, and that reason is always fear. So do you hesitate sometimes to go for the stuff you really, really, really want? What are you afraid of? And do you find yourself desiring something or wishing you could just go for it? But something always gets in the way when you make the decision. You say, yes, I'm going to go for it. And something happens. And, you can't do it. Or maybe you just don't believe that you can do it or you can have it. If any of those resonated with you, I want you to know, or did you know, every time you make a choice, and remember, taking no action is a choice. It's still an action. And every time you make a choice, you are either choosing to live, you're choosing life, or you're choosing to disintegrate. You're slowly dying. So which ones are you choosing in any moment? Because when you choose to stay the same, to keep wondering and don't take action, you disintegrate. When you choose to do things out of obligation instead of what you really want because you're scared of what may happen, of a conflict, and you're trying to avoid pain, you're disintegrating. If you choose to continue to live to survive instead of really going for what you want and living to love your life, you disintegrate. And if you hesitate to go for what you want and take no action, you disintegrate. And if you desire something but choose to believe you cannot have it, you're disintegrating. You're not living, you're disintegrating. You are slowly dying. Fear is killing you. So, what does being a predominant creator mean? It means that you choose how you want to feel. You no longer react to circumstances. I know for me, I used to be the biggest reactor. Something would happen, it would make me angry that day, or it would make me sad, and I'm reacting to the circumstances happening. Now it's a different story because if something happens, I have the choice to take a breath and choose how I want to respond. And sometimes my response is no response. I choose to stay silent. And before I would just mouth off. And my life completely changed as a result. Because I'm being the predominant creator and I'm directing where I want my emotions to go. And if you don't like how you feel, instead of judging how you feel, instead of calling out the circumstance that made you feel the way you feel, which is terrible, or however you're feeling at the moment that doesn't feel good, you just notice that you don't feel good. You don't play around with the why. Don't play around with this person made me this or that person did that. The circumstances. Don't focus on the circumstance. Don't judge it. You just choose to feel differently. And then when you choose that emotion, the thoughts will come to you to help you take action to create more of that situation instead of more of what you don't want. And here's one of the most important ones. You live in the end result. You live in the end result, the emotion that you're trying to accomplish, not the middle. And it's really easy to get snapped back into the current reality, because if you're getting into the end result of how you would love to feel and you get into the processing, sometimes we get into situations that are challenging, and it challenges our focus. And then suddenly you get focused in the middle of what you're doing and you lose sight of the end result. And at that point, it kicks you out of the creative structure and you get right back into the problem structure. So you got to make sure that you're living in the end result. You pay attention to your mind. When you're a predominant creator, you're no longer unaware of what your mind is doing. You are very much aware of what your mind is saying, the story that you're telling yourself. And if you notice that it's something that doesn't serve you, you actively parent your mind to change it. For example, no, we're not going to think about that stressful moment. We'll think about that later. Right now, we're focusing on this. And I want to create this. And I would love to create the feeling of XYZ, and you get into the end result. But you have to parent your mind. You have to actively talk to yourself to guide yourself where you want to go. Another one, you go for what you want and you take action. Again, no action is taking an action. And one of them, disintegrate. And I know you know which one. You speak your truth. That's a really big one. How many times have we been faced with circumstances where we're talking to someone and we want to say something, but then we hold back because maybe we're scared of hurting that person's feelings, or maybe we are scared of how they're going to react, so we decide not to say anything. That's not speaking your truth. You need to be able to speak your truth. Have enough of a core to know that what you're saying, your intention is not to hurt anyone, and you don't care. It doesn't matter how that other person takes it. You are delivering it with love and with the intent to help someone, and how they take it is not your problem. So you've got to make sure that you speak your own truth. You cultivate patience when you feel impatient. This is a big one, because none of us like to wait. We don't like to wait. We want to have what we want right away. That's why we have fast food restaurants. You want to get food ASAP. Or when we go to a nice restaurant and we have to wait a little bit longer for our food, what do? When is the food going to get here? But if you're patient, what happens when the food arrives, right? It comes delicious and it's usually really good. Sometimes it's not, but for the most part, it truly is. But when you become a predominant creator, you understand that you are creating what you want, and you have the patience to let it grow. When you plant a seed, you cannot, let's say you're planting a strawberry seed. You plant the seed and you water it. What are you going to do? Hurry up, strawberry. Let's get growing. Let's get up out of the ground. You're taking too long. No, right? You let the strawberry grow. And then you get to pick the harvest and you get to eat it. So delicious. That's what being a predominant creator is like. You stay focused on the end result, and then you allow for the how to happen. It just shows up. And this is where trust comes in, and you have faith that it follows through. You put yourself first. This is a big one. A lot of us do not put ourselves first. If you're a mom, if you're a business owner, you might know what I'm talking about. Especially if you're a mom, because we're always putting our children first, our husband first, our family first. We're always doing everything other than ourselves. But you know what? You have to put yourself first. You have to. And this is not being selfish. This is called self-love. Because your intention is to put yourself first, to love yourself first, because the only way you can love others is if you love yourself. And if you're too busy putting others first, you're not giving yourself enough love. And you're not giving others that much love either. Because how many times have we been too tired to do something, or we get into a bad mood, or we're irritable, or whatever the case may be? It's because we're not giving ourselves enough self-care. And then lastly, choose love over fear always. Fear does not exist, only love. So don't choose something that doesn't exist. Don't choose something that disintegrates. And it's hard for us to understand this sometimes, but basically, fear is only the absence of love. That's it. There's love and there's the absence of love. So choose love. Ego says, once everything falls into place, once I have the money, I'll do this. I will have peace. Once I have the relationship, I will be happy. That's the ego. And that's the reason why you will never have what it is you're looking for. Spirit says, find your peace, find your abundance, find your love, find your happiness, and then everything will fall into place. It matches. You have to be a match to what you desire. I love the quote. I think it really puts it into perspective. All right, so we're going to end the presentation tonight with a visualization, choosing to be the predominant creator. And if you guys want to find a spot to relax, wherever you are, take a moment and go and find a comfortable spot. And this is generally a closed eye exercise, but you're more than welcome to keep them open, whatever works for you. I will have my eyes closed. All right, so to get started, I want you to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you breathe out, I want you to set the intention that you're going to relax. Set the intention that you're going to completely and totally relax. And as you're relaxing, I want you to focus on your breath. There's nothing to do about your breath, just focus, just being awareness. Feel the air going into your lungs, filling up your body. And as you exhale, I want you to push your belly towards your spine. And as you're relaxing, I want you to put your attention on your body. Really feel your body. Notice where you're sitting on the chair or wherever you are. Notice your hands, your arms. Relax your face. Just really get into the feeling of your body and just relax. And as you're relaxing, I want you to now step into the end result of being the predominant creative force in your life. Pick a moment, a time in the future where you are already a predominant creator. And as you're imagining yourself at this end result, what does it feel like? What are you doing? Who are you with? I want you to really think about the feeling. How did it feel to be the predominant creative force in your life? You are just creating everything that you could possibly desire. I want you to feel it in your body. Where in the body do you feel it right now? You're the predominant creator in your life. What are you doing? What kind of thoughts are you thinking? What are you saying to other people? Really look for the feeling. How the emotion that you feel. Feel the emotion bubbling up. What emotions are you feeling? Perhaps you're feeling elated. You're feeling powerful, excited, happy, joyful. What emotion would you be feeling? You're the predominant creator. And take a deep breath. Really feel that emotion throughout your body. And now that you're feeling the emotion, I want you to choose this experience. And I want you to say to yourself or out loud, I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. And really choose it. Choose it with all of your heart and soul. I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. Now, as you've chosen that, I want you to take a moment and look over your shoulder and look at the person that's sitting meditating, the person that is you right now in the current reality. And without any judgment, I want you to notice what's different. What is different about the current reality that you are meditating in and the future reality, the end result of being the predominant creative force? Just notice the disequilibrium. Just notice and observe. And now that you've noticed, what is the next right action step that you would need to take to become closer to the predominant creative force that you wish to be? What is the next step, the next right action that you would need to take to move closer to being the predominant creative force in your life? Now I want you to hold on to that action, and we're going to step back into the end result that you created, back into the future reality of living predominant creative force in your life. And I want you to step back into the end result, step back into that future moment, and really feel that emotion. You are the predominant creative force in your life. It has already been created. You're already there. And breathe it all in. And hold on to that action step. And as you're breathing in the emotion that you're feeling, and now when you're ready, you may wiggle your toes, open your eyes, and come back in. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that is a visualization exercise that helps you get into the end result. Then it helps you to observe the current reality and find the next action step to help bring you into the reality that you wish to create. And whatever action step you got in this visualization, you have one homework assignment. And that homework assignment is for you. You have 24 hours to take that action. If you don't take that action, you have decided to take no action. You have decided to stay the same, which means you are disintegrating. You have chosen to be the predominant disintegrator instead of the predominant creator. It's very important you take that next action step. Choose to be the predominant creator in your life. I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation. Once again, to find me, you can see me live on Wednesday at 7 p.m. I've got part 2 coming up, and we're going to go over living a life you love, a lot of fun. And if you would like to see me live, just go on to Meetup and look for Charlotte at the location, Charlotte, North Carolina, and look for the law of attraction as an idea that it can complete. You can also follow me on Instagram at I am Nicole Vayner, or shoot me an email if you prefer, nicole@attractinggrace.com. I really enjoyed doing this with you guys. Thank you so much for watching me tonight, and I will see you guys later. Have a great night. Bye, everyone.